Hello， 大家好，我们欢迎回到我们的大成直播。Welcome back to our 大成TSCC Radio. Today we have this Reverend Daniel Tay here. Okay, you must be surprised. Last week we were saying that we're supposed to share by our host Rachel and our guest speaker Reverend Anna Lee, but there's a reason behind, okay? Beside the host that's not feeling well today, so if they tune it to the BB are sharing today. And then there's another implication that because I understood from Reverend Anna Lee and Reverend Tay that actually we should supposed to share BB first. Okay, maybe Reverend Daniel Tay can explain why.
Okay, first off, thank you for having me back here after half a year. To start off, why we want to do sharing of Boys Brigade first is because this was the root of all the uniform groups. It was first started in 1883 by Sir William Alexander Smith. And then from there, around the European country, various uniform groups were started, including the Girls Brigade that trace back to the Boys Brigade.
I see. Thank you, Reverend Daniel Tay, to explain to us. Okay, then maybe we recap a little bit. I think it's not. If you recall that actually we invited Reverend Daniel Tay to share with us earlier on. I think somewhere around April. So anyway, we need to recap. Maybe you can have a quick short introduction again to introduce to our audience. Maybe there's a new audience that's actually watching now.
Okay. Short introduction of myself. I'm Daniel. I've been involved in outreach ministries throughout my time serving the Lord. Along with the outreach ministry, actually my focus was mainly in youth and students. So that's why I have been involved in the Boys Brigade. Have been involved in FES and the Helping Hand as well. So previously, I was invited to talk about counseling. And that was where my involvement in that aspect, I was able to share with all of us.
Most important of all, you are also a BB, right?
Yes, I have been a BB officer. I've never been a BB boy though.
I see. Straight to the officer.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe you can share with us what is the actually for Boy Brigade, right? What's the history of Boy Brigade and also the purpose and objective of forming this Boy Brigade?
Well, generally, in the 1800s, when Sir William Alexander Smith started, there was a lot of boys around. There was not doing anything. So he saw them just bumming around, so-called, and then he gathered all of them together, and then he did something like a Sunday school training. Then, because he also gave them discipline. And then and started off with a lot of so-called adventure, outdoor stuff to engage these boys so that they are able to grow and mature. So for us in the Boys Brigade, we have this object that is the advancement of Christ's kingdom amongst boys with the habits with promotion of habits of reverence, obedience, discipline, and self-respect that tends towards Christian manliness. So in that sense, we are trying to engage and build up young lives so that they can become morally educated and then responsible citizens. And also to give them physical training and leadership training so that they can live to the fullest of their potential.
I see. Okay, thank you for the sharing of the history of BB. Then also, Reverend Daniel, how about your journey with the BB? So from when you started to join, to engage into BB until today, I don't know how many years or so, maybe you can share in more details the journey with the BB.
Okay. First off, I said that I was not a BB boy, but actually in 1991, I actually attended one so-called BB parade then when I was a secondary one boy. Because I was not a Christian then,
Yes.
but I was invited by my classmate, my schoolmate, to go for this BB, and it seems fun, so I went to join them. But because my parents were not believer,
Yeah.
and then at the time it was held in a church, and they had the misunderstanding that this uniform group, you must be Christian to join.
I see.
So that's why in the end I didn't join the Boys Brigade itself. But only until I became a Christian and I started serving,
Yes.
and then in the church that I'm serving, my first church that I served in was sponsoring a company,
I see.
and that's when I started serving as assistant chaplain. That was in 2003.
Okay.
Then when I left the church, I served all the way until I left the church, 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
Then 2010, when I joined another church, that time this new church also have a Boys Brigade. Then I rejoined them, and ever since then I have been with Boys Brigade, serving with church or without church. I'm still serving.
I see. So just now I heard you mentioning that the BB. So to join the uniform group, it's considered uniform group, right? BB is like same like NPCC, NCC, all this in the school. And then you need yourself as a Christian. So do you need to be a Christian to join BB? So you actually answered my question just now that you no need. But how about the officer inside? Is it there's a needs or the teachers, like do they need to be a Christian to become a BB officer?
For the BB constitution or the BB headquarters, the constitution states that for an officer they must be a believer of Christ, and then someone who's worshiping in a church. And ideally, if you are so-called serving in a particular company, and each company is usually there is a tripartite that we have a sponsoring church, the sponsoring school. As well as the parents. So when we have this tripartite, we hope that the officers serving in this company are from that same church itself.
From the same church, but
or the same school. That's right.
His preference are not necessary, but
Yes.
at least must be a Christian, correct?
Yes, correct.
I see. Okay. Then, we know that in Tyson Christian Church, right, so we adopted, I think now it's 2 company of BB, right? Also there's GB. Okay, we should be shared later next week. So we know that the resources in Tyson Christian is quite a small church. It's about only 100 old people. And then with such a limited resources, right, why we actually embark into adopting these 2 company, and what's the I would say the confidence level that we have that we adopted these 2 company?
Wow. From what we heard from Reverend Anna last week, that the church itself started off with a lot of this children gospel rally, children camps and activities. So in that sense, when I came in, I was told that we wanted to do outreach program. And since I have this experience with the Boys Brigade, and I was working in the school in the Boys Brigade and so on. So so we actually so-called voice out to the brigade that we are willing to sponsor companies to work among children. And then it took some time. Then they go back to us. So we managed to take over one company, 100J. That was in 2016. We received the news. So officially we started serving among them in 2017, January.
So in 100J, right? Actually, which school is that?
That is North Vista Primary School.
North Vista Primary School. So how much time you all spend with this? How the whole flow go about is like you adopt the company. So you need to start to plan the program and how to recruit the people inside. And then what other activity actually was done to the whole of this program? Well,
the ongoing, the planning of the program and so on is up to respective companies, teachers, the school, and so on. We will structure it around the national competition. And then also around the school curriculum and the school time. So we will usually have a adventure quest in March, and then a character quest in either August, September time.
I see.
So prior to that, usually the few weeks would be training for the boys. Then other times we would have our curriculum work on. We call it the batch work, where the boys, these badges are attained when they go through all this lesson, and then they do a project, a mini project, and so on.
You see all the badges on their shoulder, right? Like what some of the picture I saw.
Oh,
right?
yeah, just now, those pictures, the badges on the shoulder is for the juniors. Then everywhere, those are the senior boys in secondary school.
I see. Okay, these pictures, what are they doing actually? This is the BB boy, right? Correct?
Yeah, this is one of our church member who is also in our own 100J that we took over at that time, just nice. So this is BB Share a Gift, where we go to the neighborhood to give hampers to the needy in that sense. Yes.
So it's a regular program every year for this?
Yes, BB Share a Gift has been on for 30 over years, that's right.
Okay. So that means they will be going to all the needies. How you all do selection of this? Is it a list that's sent to the BB or is it from HQ?
The beneficiaries, the HQ would contact the comm service and so on, and then they would gather all the different agencies. Then they would give the names of those who are a bit in need in that sense. Then we would go approach them, to send these hampers on those that are on the list.
I see.
Yes.
So talk about it in more details, right? When you are this 100J company in a school, right? So it's a regular weekly basis that the pastor or the officer will go actually join them. So in the school itself, you will be partner with the teachers to do this program. And is there a fixed syllabus that actually will be teaching, or it must be agreed among the school?
Well, like I said earlier, usually it's around what we plan for, the competitions and also the batch work. Okay. On top of that, the main bulk of it is we are doing character education for the two companies, or should I say, including the two Girls Brigade company, the 4 companies that we are doing. We are sharing with them character values, as part of the devotion, to help them learn values that will be helpful for them. And these programs are usually planned between the officers and the teachers. That whenever there's a CCA timing for us, that's when we will go in. And often than not, we tend to average about 20 over parades each year across the 4 terms. But in recent years,
COVID.
Because of COVID, so a lot of the parades are cut. Parades is the name we give for these CCA sessions.
Oh, I see. It's not actually doing the parade itself. It's just the terms, right?
Yeah, it's a name for the whole session itself, because usually it starts with a parade and ends with a parade.
So you can start to teach them in terms of the training, right? Allowed to teach them about Bible study or this?
Well, we don't actually do Bible study, but we do character education, as I've mentioned, because it's circular. The school itself is circular in that sense. So we are not so-called allowed to officially so-called keep teaching and talking about the name of God and so on. But we try to we do share from the Bible the values, the lessons that are there. Yes. I
see. So that's 100J. After that, I think 102, correct? 102 is actually recently, right? This recent 2 years, correct?
Yes. 102J we took over officially 2021. 2019.
Just before the COVID.
2019,
right?
just before COVID. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, with this coming up, there's in total how many so-called students we have that is in these 2 companies now?
In both companies, the boys itself, we have about up to the P6s, we have about 70 students.
That's a lot.
Together.
So after they finish all this primary school, right, when they advance to the secondary school, right, where the training, so-called the BB's training will be different, correct? Understand that so-called you call it the JP and the SP, correct?
Yes, in primary school it's called the juniors program, JP. Then in secondary school it's called the seniors program, SP. So when you go to the seniors program, there are more varied activities, more outdoor activities that they can be done because they are older and stronger.
Okay, it's where you will start to select the future officers that actually can help to continue the program with the secondary school, right?
Yes, I mean, like in juniors program, we give them appointments. Those boys we see leadership ability, we appoint them as squad leaders, company leading boys. Then ultimately, the highest so-called award that they can get is the Gold Award.
I see.
That's the badge that they can wear when they go to seniors program.
Yeah.
And in seniors program, they will go through the ranks, in that sense.
I see.
And it varies from each company. They have their own NCO council and so on. And then ultimately, when they finish their seniors program, if they are willing to continue on when they are in the tertiary, be it ITE or Poly or JC, they can be part of the primers program. Yeah, and those are the warrant officers. Then after warrant officers, so-called, but we don't call them warrant officers, we call them primers. Okay. And then after they finish their so-called primers program, if they're still willing to stay on in the company, because since they grow up from rank and file, from juniors or from seniors to primers, and then if the sponsoring church is willing to continue to have them to support, then they will go for officers course.
I see.
Yeah, but also actually most of our officers are volunteers that we actually gather from the church body itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, since you mentioned this, right, because the time is quite fast, already 50 minutes up. So before we end, right, okay, maybe Reverend Daniel, what would you like to see in this outreach ministry, and any words to our fellow Christians, brother and sister in Tyson Christian Church, and to those audience?
Well, what do I hope to see? Of course, definitely, for one, we hope to see more involvement from our community. We have been supporting through our donations, through our prayers. What we hope is that we can have more members from our congregation to be able to participate, as well as not just our members, but the parents of our boys to participate in the activities, be it our camps and outings and so on. Also, our outreach, not just in the sense of the church outreach, but the outreach that the Boys Brigade is doing, the care program that we're doing. We usually in the second half of the year, from July, we have the BB Cares, Boys Brigade community activities rallying everyone to serve. That's BB Cares. And then at the end of the year, in November to December, we have the BB Share Give. So these are the times that we have opportunities open to parents, to members, to be part of, to come alongside, and then with the boys, to show care and concern to the community and so on. So this, I hope to see more involvement in this sense. Yeah, and of course, we hope to have more officers on board. If we have anyone who's interested in serving in the Boys Brigade or Girls Brigade, can look for us.
No age limit, right, this one?
No age limit. You can be as young as your teens or as old as 60s, 70s. Okay. Because one of our officers, you just now, through the photos, you can see our deacon Michael, he's in his 60s, closer to 70s already, right? Or 60s, yeah. Correct. And when he started serving with us, he was in his 60s, and it was fun to have an elderly figure, a grandpa figure around as well. As long as you have the heart for these children.
Okay. So to all the audience outside, so anyone who is interested, you can always come and approach Reverend Daniel Tay. Okay, so very fast we come to the end of today's sessions. Thank you very much for your time, and stay tuned for next week where we will share the Girl Brigade by Reverend Annie Lee. Okay.
Is it the Girls Brigade or the Helping Hand?
Next week, I think it's Helping Hand first. Okay, I think the week before, correct? At the fourth week of this month. So next week will be on Helping Hand first. Due to some reschedule.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much for the reminder. Thank you very much, and see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.